Thanks for joining us today on HXGN TV, the online video channel for Hexagon's global network of brands. I'm your host, Neville Judd, and today we're discussing HXM Blast, a new product from Hexagon Mining, designed to mitigate the risk of drill and blast. Joining me is Mark Gabatus, product manager for Hexagon Mining. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Nev.
Cheers. So Mark, before we talk about the product itself, just for some perspective, I know you worked for many years in the mining industry in Australia before you moved over to the technology side. Tell me a little bit about why this is a risky business. Why is it so important to get drill and blast right, and why is it so hard?
Yeah, drill and blast is one of those touch points. It's the first time you touch the dirt, you're drilling a hole, you've got to get that right. If you get that hole wrong, in the wrong location, the wrong depth, the wrong type of product in there, it has massive downstream effects.
Right.
When I talk about downstream, I'm talking about how you dig that material. So if the rock's not blasted right, the excavator can't move the material at the required productivity rates. If the rocks are too big, they don't fit in the back of the truck. Right. So the analogy I like to use is if you've got a bucket, yeah, you can get so many golf balls in there.
Right.
But if you put sand in there, you get a lot more sand.
Right.
And so the more you can fill these trucks up to capacity, they're going to take more material, your cycle times get better. So drill and blast has a big effect on that. It then has a lot of effects down to the crushing and the milling side of the business, and then also the recovery. So there's a lot of touch points. So you've got to get that initial design right, and then you've got to action that design.
Right.
And if you can do that, things will go a bit smoother downstream.
Right. So clearly a lot of variables to deal with. How does HXM Blast help deal with that?
Yeah, you know, as I said, getting the design right is the first part.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's all about what material you have in front of you. So you've got geology, you've got your geotechnical aspects. So you need to understand that you don't just go and drill holes wherever you want to drill them.
Right.
They've got to be native to the rock. They've got to match the rock type that you have. So you need to understand what's going on in the ground. So HXM Blast will take all that information and allow you to do a design.
Right.
And because it's very flexible, very easy to use for an engineer or a surveyor, anyone could use it. You can do that design, think about it, make some changes, add some holes, move holes, all that sort of manipulation of the drill pattern is really important. That is your first part of it, but it's all tying back into your mine plan as well. So all that information gets sucked into the mine plan. The mine plan can load all that number of holes, drill meters, and that affects the mine plan. That might affect then your design again. So it's a very iterative solution.
Right.
Being able to do lots of drill patterns on a bench or in a pit in a very short space of time is critical, because all this stuff happens in a short space of time. Generally in operations, in drill and blast, grade control, short-term planning, you don't have time to sit down and try different scenarios. It's all, you know, oh man, we've got some ground open, we need to go and drill here, you know? So get the rigs on there quick and go and do the job. Right. So HXM Blast is helping the engineers do those designs, get into the field, and then, you know, getting that information to the drill rigs. So if they're using a drill fleet management system like a J2 drill, getting that information from Hexagon Mining Blast across to Leica Jigsaw systems, having a seamless integration of that data across that barrier, if you like, traditional dirt barrier, right, across there, that's a key part of Blast as well. Right. So we're working very closely with those guys. That's sort of part of the story number one, right? We're getting the data there. Yeah. But then they go and drill these holes. Right. And they don't always drill them in the spot that you anticipated. There might be some issues on the floor, or rigs might break, or the drill hole won't collar in, so they have to move it. So we need to then get that information back into Blast, and that's what we're doing as well. So that real tight integration with the drill fleet systems.
Right. So Hexagon Mining unites a lot of great technology. You have MineSight on the mine planning side. You mentioned like a jigsaw. Tell me a little bit about the synergies and the collaboration that this exploits in HXM Blast.
Yeah, this is actually, to me, the most exciting thing we're doing, okay? If you think of, on the MineSight side of the business, we have a short-term planning, and that plan has to be followed, or it's best if that plan is followed. It very rarely is, because the plans just don't meet reality. So if we can put real information into the plan, then those plans become more real, they're more likely to be followed. Grade control. Grade control sort of helps us get that information back into the plan, and then drill and blast. Those three on this side, if they can get the real information from the Leica jigsaw system, whether it's the shovel or the drill system, that comes back, goes into a block model, and that block model is then something that everyone can access, use for their designs. Go, oh, we thought it was going to be this type of rock or this hard, but I'm going to have to use a different equipment or change my blasting parameters because of what I've measured on the bench above or in a very similar material type. So I think this is where Hexagon has a real advantage, because we have that tight integration across that boundary. No one else is doing that. Right. It's brand new to the industry.
Now Hexagon Mining is committed to a life of mine solution. How important is this product to that?
Yeah, very important, because as I said, it's the first time you actually touch the dirt. Up until drill and blast, it's all hypothetical in the office, scenarios and stuff. Once you drill that and you blast it, that's your last best opportunity to get it right. You know, did I break it to the right fragment size? Did I move it and not know how I moved it? Did I mix my ore and waste? You know, there's a lot of decisions or bad things that can happen with drill and blast. And that has all, like I said, all these downstream effects. So if we go down to, let's imagine that the mining's all happened and it's all good, but then we get it to the plant and the mill, and they have to crush and grind the stuff, because you don't process rocks this big, they have to be little rocks like this, so they have to crush it, crush it, crush it. And the energy used there is immense. You know, they reckon 50% of the energy used in mining, electrical energy used in mining, is purely for crushing and grinding, which they reckon across the world, 3% of global output.
I've heard that statistic.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's mad. It's Germany. It's what Germany uses. So it's a lot of energy. So if we can improve that by 1%, we've done a good thing, right? We've really helped mines increase productivity, reduce costs. But then it goes further than that. So we're going beyond the mill. We're going into the process plant, and these little rocks, you know, they have to go into chemicals, and the chemicals have to get in there and get the metals out. You need to get that right, that size of that material going in there. So blasting is the first stage to get it to that process. And then obviously it flows onto your final product, you know, whether it's a gold bar or a train load of iron ore or something. Getting that information in there is crucial. So that's a life of mine commitment. Right. And blasting is very important to that.
Now, you travel a lot. I know you visit customers at the mine site. You attend the user conferences like MineQuest, the seminar series that Hexagon Mining does. It's exciting to Hexagon Mining. What sort of feedback are you getting from the customers about HXM Blast?
People really like the fact that it's embedded in their mine planning system. Right. So traditionally, you know, they would have to do something in MineSight, something in another product, and then maybe something in an Excel spreadsheet, and then they would have to manually transfer data around. We're taking care of that in one world, and then on to the next level, across to the drill fleet management systems. And people are just excited by that. People you don't want an engineer who's getting paid $150,000 a year worrying about, did I transfer this file correctly? You want them being engineers, you want them being geologists. So if we can remove that requirement for someone to just play around with Excel spreadsheets or CSV files, people get really excited by that. I mean, it sounds kind of simple, but if it was simple, everyone would be doing it. And people are very excited by that prospect.
It sounds like it all fits into that integrated life of mine solution that Hexagon Mining's talking about.
Yeah.
What excites you most about the future of Hexagon Mining?
I mean, just the number of opportunities we have to connect with systems outside of the traditional mine site world. So all the stuff we're doing with like a jigsaw, that's really exciting. That's a fun time, right? These guys own the data. So how do we get that back into the mine plan? How do we make the shovels and the drill rigs, the trucks, how do we make them operate smarter? That's what it's all about. And then you look at Hexagon as a larger entity. There's so many places where data is collected in mining, in the plants, and it's all part of one ecosystem. It all means something to someone, and if we can measure and track that, bring it back into the design of the blast, that's a great thing. So that to me is the most exciting thing, having all those places to talk to.
Exciting times ahead. Mark, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, Nev. Thanks.
Cheers. We'd like to thank our guest, Mark Gabatis. If you'd like to learn more about Hexagon Mining, visit hexagonmining.com. And to watch additional episodes of HXGN TV, visit hxgntv.com. Thanks very much for watching.